make sure you're in your safe space and make sure that you're away from windows. Make sure you have your phone with you. And if you know anybody who is out and about that haven't been, anywhere in the southern suburbs, seek shelter. Get to your safe place right now, because Kevin, this is a very dangerous situation that we're looking at right now with rotation. It points up and down this line.
And that's an area that was hit hard by a tornado just
yes, it was.
I mean, was it a week, 2 weeks
ago?
Yeah,
2 weeks ago yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, just it's again. I'm gonna look at this too. I do want to show you the same thing that Pete is showing. This is another way to show just the curvatures that you're looking at as the leading edge of the strong winds. And you have some really strong winds that in several areas that there could potentially be a tornado, if not on the ground, or one shortly. But Country Club Hills all the way up this line. That includes that part of southern Cook County, as we pointed out. So rough estimates of where the front of that line is. It doesn't even matter the times. If you see where you live on the list when we show you this, you need to take shelter. Don't try to figure out, well, it's a couple minutes, it's fine. I would just seek shelter, wait this out. These storms are moving, as we've been talking about, at 70 miles per hour, 60 to 70 miles per hour. And again, the potential that there may be more tornadoes on the ground that it's difficult for the radar scans to pick up on. And the one area of concern right now is we saw the debris around the Homewood, Flossmoor area. And so it's really intense winds. When you see the shades we see the colors this bright on the velocity signature, you're talking about really, really intense winds. That is in southern Cook County, and this is every radar scan. It's going way farther ahead of this. So northwest Indiana, the winds are already likely starting to pick up there. And I'm just going to check real quick, too, to see if we have any more debris that may be showing up, which is obviously of concern. That's another sign that there may be a tornado on the ground. But outside of the tornadoes, I mean, wind speeds, even if it's not a tornado, enough to create some destructive damage, Pete.
Yeah, we're looking at everybody in the southern suburbs right now. Pretty much everybody in the southern suburbs into northwest Indiana, seek your safe place, because these storm systems are moving their way on through so rapidly. I mean, we were just talking about Flossmoor a few minutes ago, and as you can see, that rotation has already moved its way on off to the east. Flossmoor, if you're listening to me, that doesn't necessarily mean you're in the clear, but that is an indication of how rapidly the storm system is moving here. So if you're in, we're into northwest Indiana now. Here's the Illinois-Indiana state line. And when we're in northwest Indiana here, again, Lake County into Newton County and into Porter County as well. Be in your safe place. We've had wind gusts, radar measured wind gusts approaching 100 miles an hour out of the storm. So we still have our very strong rotation here. Again, with our rotation detector here, same software that the National Weather Service uses, we're looking at this S shape right here. And it's a pretty distinct S shape at that. Barron Tornado Index is at 3.0, so the potential certainly is there. And as you can see, it is continuing to move its way on off to the east. So we do have confirmed on the ground here. There's also another tornado near Willowbrook, the potential for a tornado that we're going to be keeping an eye on as well. That one is also apparently producing some rotation, and that has the potential for being a spin up as well. But again, if you live anywhere now, I'm just going to say in northwest Indiana, because the storm system, again, moving its way on off to the east at 70 miles an hour, it's really cooking. It will move through rather rapidly. That's the good part. The bad part is going to be bringing some very powerful winds. Now, you've seen, you can see on the split screen here, we have various cameras that we're able to take a look at. This one from Storm Ranger here, and it's, as you can see, dark clouds are over the city. We're looking at some rain coming its way on down. The rain doesn't look particularly intense at this point, but just wait, because again, we're looking at some very strong winds moving through. Up and down, we have this. Now we've extended the tornado warning. That's an indication of, again, the rapid speed at which the storm is moving. We now have a tornado warning that is in effect for Porter County until 11:45. So again, these storms continue to race their way on off to the east with, again, tornado warnings extending all the way from the city now into parts of Kankakee County, as well as northwest Indiana here. Here's the rotation that we've detected here with the software, and also apparently has been confirmed as being a tornado. No word yet on if it continues to be on the ground, but it was on at one point. And here's the shear marker. Here's where the current rotation is. You can see how quickly it's already outraced that. So we've got the times up there: Lansing, Linwood, Munster, Hammond, and Highland, anywhere from 11:04 to 11:13. But I would shave about 5 minutes off of those times because, again, these storms are racing there through so quickly. So, again, let's talk about safety here because we still have some high rises here. If you are at work right now, make sure you're in your safe place. A lot of buildings have storm shelters. That's the place where you want to be right now. You want to be away from windows. So if you're at home, an interior room of your house or your basement, make sure you have your cell phone with you. Make sure you have a charger with you. Keep it charged up because the likelihood when we have this extent of winds over this large area, the likelihood of power outages is going to be pretty high. So make sure that your phone is charged up to capacity because, again, we're looking at very powerful winds here. So again, safe place in your room, in your house, interior room, or your basement. If you know somebody who is out and maybe doesn't have access to this information that lives in eastern Lake County or also into Porter County as well, give them a ring. Let them know. Make sure that they're aware of this. If you are going to be heading on I-94 or I-90, heading east into northwest Indiana, make sure you wait it out just a little while. Again, these storms are moving through very rapidly. We've also had some reports of some power outages and some power lines down. Steer clear of them because especially at this point in time, when those power lines go down, the power company doesn't have the opportunity just yet to shut down the certain transformers to get to an area that has the power lines down. So make sure if you do see some power lines down, steer clear of them. They could be very hot and extremely dangerous here. So make sure you heed that advice as well. We don't want any injuries being as the result of some down power lines here. So let's go back to our
winds, Pete. I just want to point out that the radar estimates, just looking at the velocity data, showing winds over 100 miles per hour, and that doesn't mean that wind is actually reaching the surface. That's scanning up into the cloud and showing us where the winds are strong. But every severe weather event that we have had this summer, I'm looking at our color scale, and I see colors that I didn't see the last time. So even brighter shades and the shades of yellow. These, at least, you're looking up into the cloud. Wind speeds 100 to 120 miles per hour. And yeah, there may be some individual, in fact, there likely are individual tornadoes on the leading edge of this. And the new scan coming in, look how fast it's moving, approaching already I-65. Even though there are a couple of tornadoes, it's almost more concerning how broad and how strong the winds are. This is going to create a lot of power outages. So Pete's mentioned power outages likely. It is a near certainty with the winds this strong that are going to be pushing across the rest of northwest Indiana. So really strong winds, and regardless whether or not if you get a tornado, these straight line winds are serious. So even with that alone, you want to stay away from windows, as when you're talking straight line winds that may be upwards of 100 miles per hour. We've had it before this summer. Very serious there. So that is continuing to race across northwest Indiana, and we still have all of those tornado warnings. We'll go back to show you the tornado warnings here, and we have still the tornado warning for Cook County. That is till 11:15 for southern Cook County. The one in northern Cook County, I believe that one goes until 11:15 as well. So the two that we have for Lake County and in Porter County, Indiana, That's till also till 11:15. I thought one of these were going till 11:30, but 11:15, and it says the hail size there. Hail isn't really as much of a concern here. It's all about the wind and the threat of a potential tornado, which there have likely already been at least a couple, maybe a few already on the ground that we've seen, at least radar indicated. And we've seen some of our debris detectors pick up on too. But yeah, This is a very strong winds. Pete, do you have something new?
Yeah, many of the buildings in the city apparently have been evacuated to the point where people are congregating in vestibules and lobbies away from windows because of the powerful winds moving through the city. We still have that active tornado warning right now that is in the city, and that one goes until 11:30. So that still has another 25 minutes. The likelihood of the storm outracing it, pretty high, but still. Stay in your safe place until at least 11:30. The good news is we've seen a lot of the warnings that are off to the east expire. We still have
a couple
the
more debris signatures too, north of Crown Point, between Crown Point and Maryville.
Okay, because we did have, and Kevin, you had talked about the winds. Mokina, there's a train spotter there in Will County. Recorded a 91-mile-an-hour wind gust. So that's the kind of winds that we're dealing with. Let's take a look at our debris detector. And again, there's a couple of places where we have some lighter patches here. And that's what we're looking at, where we have the rotation going on. So in northwest Indiana, we're just north of Crown Point here, in between Crown Point and Maryville. Here's 231. Here's Highway 30, Lincoln Highway. You can see there is some rotation going on, the potential for rotation going on there. The debris detector is picking up on activity there. And as we go a little bit further off to the east of Winfield right now, here is the Lake Porter state line. We are looking at some debris there as well. So we are looking at, once again, very powerful winds that are moving through here. Here's our rotation detector, and we've seen these strong colors here throughout this period. We've been on the air for about an hour now as these storms have raced their way on through, and pretty much throughout we've seen where we've had very powerful rotation going on. Let's go up to Gary there, because as you can see, we're looking at the potential for an S shape in there as well. We have a storm track. We'll talk about the storm track first. You can see the BTI is at 2.8, so it is approaching the area where we're going to have a lot of concern. But even though the number is low, the wind gusts are high. We're looking at very strong winds moving through with this rain. You can see we don't quite have that S shape going on here near Gary. However, we do have some potential rotation. We're looking there. Now, good thing to point out here, all of the active tornado warnings, except for the city of Chicago right here, have been allowed to expire. That's because of the rapid speed at which these storms are moving their way on through. Hold tight in Chicago, in the city just yet. Where's that camera that we're seeing right now? Midway? Okay, there's a camera at Midway Airport, and as you can see, there is some heavy rain going down. It's a little tough to pick up on the wind gusts that we might be potentially seeing there, but certainly some heavy rain, and that's going to exacerbate all of the flooding concerns that we've had. When you look back to, remember, Kevin, just last Saturday, we had Lollapalooza, which turned into a mud fest.
Yeah.
And then with all the heavy rains that we've seen the past couple of days, this is just going to make a bad situation worse with the heavy rains coming down.
Yeah, the velocity signature, at least the Midway radar, just right on top of it, it's reading 67 miles per hour.
There you go. So some strong winds. By the way, let's go back up to Maryville, because apparently we do have reports of a funnel cloud there, or tornado, that has radar indicated. Radar confirmed tornado. Okay, that's the words that we're getting here right in Maryville. So here's Highway 30, Lincoln Highway. And as you can see, we're looking at the tornado warning, which extends just to the west of Maryville there and continues not only into Lake County, but this is the Lake and Porter County line. We have the tornado warning for Porter County as well. So these have been rapidly moving storm systems. The BTI, as you can see, is at 2.9, so it has the potential of seeing with the rotation there of a tornado touching down. And Kevin, it's going to be interesting to see here, because we've had so many spin-ups along the way, along this. National Weather Service, I think, has got a tough task ahead of them determining where damage might have been caused by straight line winds, by rotation too, because there are certainly different signatures for each, but just because of the extent, the length of this storm system.
And, you know, we cover the storms. We talk about just getting you ready for the storms. But then, yeah, they have to go out, you know, after covering the storms and issuing all of these warnings and alerts to keep you safe. They've got to go out and get a team going over the next 24 hours to go out and look at the damage and assess how many tornadoes there were, or how bad the damage was. So that's what they're going to be doing tomorrow and in the days ahead, because an event like this is likely to take several days to really go out and analyze all the data. So relying on storm reports from you and looking at radar and satellite data too. But right now, I mean, the worst of it, at least for now, it looks like the winds are starting to get a little lighter in Cook County, but still southern Cook County, very strong winds, and it's northwest Indiana that is the area of most concern right now, where there are multiple areas where there could still be some rotation. And it's kind of tough to pinpoint where exactly a tornado may be. But this is where I'm going to point out a couple of spots, because we pointed out Maryville, but then also this one just east of I-65. And this looks like far southern Lake County, Indiana. This is near Eagle Creek and Boone and Couts, that area. This is an area that we know well from a big tornado earlier in the season. That is an area of concern. And then just going up farther to the north along the leading edge here. Again, the scan is a little behind. This is likely already encroaching in through central Porter County, but approaching Valparaiso and moving right along the I-90 and 94 corridor there, so across northwest Indiana. And I don't know, too, if we have Natalie, Ariel, if anybody can give us an update on some of the power outages, maybe we have a number, too, because 45, is that what you said? 45,000 from ComEd. So that's at least Illinois, and we'll see as this line moves through. And these have been some of the strongest and most widespread, really strong damaging winds we've seen in northwest Indiana. So I suspect that number for northwest Indiana may be higher than that. But now we just got it up to 122,000. So I think those numbers will continue to go up. They've had their work cut out for them this season, this summer. So again, keep your devices charged up. We're looking now in the areas that haven't been hit by the winds or the storms just yet, in Porter County, LaPorte County, and also in Jasper and most of Newton County too. But northern Newton and Jasper counties, again, you need to take shelter as well. And if you live in Porter County too, because we still have these tornado warnings that are set to expire. And Pete, you might have to help me out with this. They were set to expire at 11:15. Do we get some extensions, I'd imagine?
I believe we do have for the one in Porter County that goes until 11:45.
Okay.
But that was issued early on. It would not be surprising at all if that was allowed to expire a little bit early, just because of the rapid movement of these storms. I mean, it's already on top of Porter County as we speak. So here's our power outages map. We're just getting started here as far as potential outages go. But 20,000 customers without power already in Will County, another 5,500 in Kane County, 7,000 into Grundy County. So far, 1,500 in Cook County. But I have a feeling, and I'm sure, Kevin, you can confirm this, those numbers are going to go way up as people get an accurate extension of exactly the damage that occurred.
We've seen them get into the well, hundreds of thousands, unfortunately, a few times.
And I have a feeling that's going to be the case, especially when we get into northwest Indiana here. So let's do a quick overview. We still have our tornado warning that is in effect for central Cook County. We've had some buildings evacuated, meaning they didn't send folks on the street. They just got them out of their offices and into a central location, into a storm cellar where they knew everybody was going to be safe. So we still have that active tornado warning. We have the confirmed tornado right now in Maryville, and we still have the severe tornado warning, rather, in effect until 11:30. So that's got another 15 minutes or so. And then we do have this tornado warning for Porter County until 11:45. But again, you can see the rain has already, and the strongest, most powerful winds are already in Porter counties here. So I don't want to give you the all clear just yet in eastern Lake County, but certainly we're looking at the worst of the threat now beginning to subside. We've had some reports here. Get ready for this. Indiana dunes, possible wind gusts of 100 to as much as 120 miles an hour. Now that's at Indiana dunes, and basically what we have going on at the dunes right here is because we've got the open water here, there's nothing to slow the winds down. They're able to really accelerate as they're moving through. So that's an indication of the powerful winds that we're dealing with here, even with the friction from the trees and the buildings that we've seen, the 80-mile-an-hour winds. We're looking at a lot of power outages that are going to be occurring at this time. So as you can see, we now have another tornado warning, this one until noon. This is for LaPorte County in northwest Indiana, an indication that, again, this really hasn't shown much in the way of weakening as it's moved its way on through. There's a pretty good chance that a lot of folks in central Indiana and eastern Indiana are going to be battening down the hatches because, again, we have very powerful winds coming our way. Again, we have that tornado warning for the eastern half of Lake County.
And there may be another debris signature
Indiana,
just west of Valparaiso, too.
Okay, so let's take a look at Valparaiso there, and as you can see, we're looking at, once we get a little bit further away from the radar, oftentimes it's a little bit harder to detect this, so that's why we're not looking at quite the bright colors here as far as our rotation detector is concerned. However, because of the history of the storm system, throwing up the debris detector, again, you can see where these lighter patches are. That's where we have the potential for spinning vortex, like a tornado, to lift stuff up off of the ground and potentially throw it into the air to the point where it's bigger objects, branches, perhaps some shingles from houses that it's able to pick, the rotation detector is able to pick up and let us know that there's certainly something significant going on in that area. So again, we're watching the storm moving its way rapidly on off to the east. This is Porter County here. So just to give you an indication what's going on, again, Valparaiso, here's Route 6, here's I-90 right here, 94 just off to the north, or I-80 rather, I-80-90. We'll call it. But as you can see, it's continuing to work its way rapidly on off to the east. So, Kevin, the good news is this storm moved in and out, but the bad news is it looks like it has left quite a bit of destruction in its wake. I mean,
so now the latest report for northwest Indiana reporting over 100,000 power outages, and this is still ongoing, so reports still coming in. But this is a loop over the last hour, and just showing you the winds pick up speed as the colors got brighter. That's the winds picking up speed as it moved into northwest Indiana. And so that's why right now the biggest concern, as we just talked about, Indiana dunes, this portion here, really strong winds right now, just moving over Chesterton and moving up I-94. So that's going to be moving across northeastern, or it is moving across northeastern Porter County right now, and that's going to be moving into LaPorte County too, just over maybe the next 10 minutes, or likely less than 10 minutes. But there's also still a couple of areas that are showing some rotation. That's right on top of Valparaiso right now. And again, Pete talked about this. This is getting farther away from the radar site, which, because of the curvature of the Earth, you're angled up a little higher into the cloud. And we know all these storms are rotating, so it's okay if the storms rotate. We just don't want them to be rotating near the surface. And when the radar is beaming a little high above the surface, it can't see down to the ground, we can't necessarily get a clear picture of if there's going to be a tornado on the ground or not. But certainly a hook there where there is some strong rotation, at least aloft, right on top of the Valparaiso area right now. And then the other one I pointed out east of Boone, around the Couts area too, and that's the southern portion of the county. But this is another area that may, I'd say potentially could be a tornado, but nothing confirmed just yet. But widespread wind damage moving across Porter County. That's going to keep moving into LaPorte County. And I suspect, Pete, this will take a turn slightly more to the southeast as the storms roll through. They're going to be impacting, I think, more so central Indiana compared to northeastern Indiana as we expand this out into the east. But at least, like you said, they're moving out quickly. At least for our area, they're going to be moving out here hopefully less than an hour from now for northwest Indiana. Should be less than an hour.
Yeah, we've had, again, quite a bit of wind activity here. Looking at this point like a little bit more of a straight line wind event as it continues to move through. Still have an active tornado warning here until 11:45. That's another 25 minutes. Again, I have a feeling it's going to outrace that time. Just to give you an indication, there was a tornado warning that was in effect for Lake County until 11:30. That has been allowed to expire at least 10 minutes early. So Valparaiso, as you can see, we're looking at that rotation slowly but surely sliding its way on off to the east. But again, we've had some very powerful winds associated with all of these. So again, our debris detector here, where you see those lighter colors, this is an indication. Let's throw that back up there really quick, Joey, because as you can see, more of a linear event with the debris detector is an indication that we're looking at straight line winds. When we have it kind of clumped together, that's the indication of rotation. When we have a more linear event like this, that's an indication that there's a very strong wind gust that's blowing its way on through and creating that debris cloud right ahead of it. So we're looking at some very powerful winds associated with the storm system. Let's zoom this way out really quick and give you a brief overview, because there are a lot of folks who are wondering what's going on in the rest of the area. We still have a few active severe thunderstorm warnings. The good news is the city of Chicago has been dropped from that severe thunderstorm warning and also from the tornado warning that was in effect earlier. Now we just have the tornado warning for Porter County as well as LaPorte County, and then points east, where we're starting to get into an area where not necessarily in our viewing area. You might be able to pick us up on your dish or on cable, or perhaps you have a powerful antenna. You might be able to pick us up that way. But we're looking at the storm quickly racing its way on off. Out to the west, you can see the rain still coming down, not nearly as intense as what we saw. So we're starting to see the activity wind its way on down for most of the area. Right now, the most troublesome spot that we're looking at is in northwest Indiana into Porter County and LaPorte County. Let's take a minute now to talk about what's going to be happening here in the aftermath. A lot of power outages. It's likely going to take a little while depending upon what was knocked out. If it was a transformer or a large power line where they can quickly repair it and put a lot of people back online, that's basically the emphasis of the power companies in order to try to get people back online. They'll start big and then they'll work small. So that's how that's going to be working here over the next hours to days, because again, if we have widespread power outages like I think we're going to have, this is an event where it's going to take several days in order to get everybody back online here. So that's one of the things that we need to look out for. If you do have your power outage going on, make sure people have been contacted. If you are getting ready to go somewhere, make sure if your power is out, those power lines might still be hot, so steer clear of them. Make sure that they're not going to be anywhere near a live power line, because again, it could be a very dangerous situation coming here over the next several hours. So make sure that you heed that advice if you could in the areas where we're starting to see the rain let up considerably. So here's our active tornado warning one more time here for Porter County and then into LaPorte County. The storm, again, racing its way rapidly on off to the east. So you can see the times there. The Barron Tornado Index at 2.6. It's a little on the lower end. However, at times, and we've seen this all summer long, when we have a line of thunderstorms moving their way on through, we've seen these brief spin-ups. EF0 tornadoes. They still have wind gusts around 80 miles an hour, can still pack quite a punch, can maybe be on the ground for 3-4 minutes. So not a long duration event, but certainly enough given the location where it could be at. It could be a very potentially dangerous situation. So again, this line, as it moves its way on through, make sure you're in your safe place. Make sure that you're taking as much caution as you can. Here's the latest scan, and as you can see, it jumped. It just didn't like creep forward. It jumped forward. And again, that's another indication of rapidly these storms are moving their way on through. BTI is still at 2.6. So again, it is a little bit on the lower end. So this is the extent of our tornado warnings now. Again, Lake County has been dropped, Lake County in northwest Indiana, but we still have Porter County, and that is in effect until 11:45, and then LaPorte County here until noon. If you know anybody who's going to be traveling into the Chicago area on I-80, I-90, make sure you let them know, hey, pull up at a truck stop, hang tight for a little while. You don't want to be driving in this. With the gusty winds around, we're looking at the potential for some, especially if a semi gets broadsided by these powerful winds, some semis getting tipped over by the powerful winds. So high-profile vehicles, even a work van, could be a potentially scary situation. Just kind of hold up and wait this out, because you don't have to wait long. These storms moving their way on through rather rapidly, but you just don't want to take any chances here with the strong winds that these have created. So, Kevin, the good news is this is winding its way on down, and it was a fast-moving event, but that was part of the problem, too, the speed of the storm.
And I mean, even though with the speed of it, the rain rates, I mean, like 4.5 inches per hour in some of these spots in northwest Indiana right now. This is a loop over the last 2 hours, and you see the wind surge on the southern edge of this just move real quickly and sped this thing up into northwest Indiana, and then it's spreading out as well. But before that, you had these storms already in Indiana that as they fell apart, they kind of pushed the wind around, so they kind of split and then came back together. So this part of northwest and north central Indiana, I mean, just a lot of rain and serious flash flooding ongoing. Flooding a big problem along with the wind for Indiana, but this is what it looks like now, racing off to the east. So we talk about what's next. What do? We have a lot of power outages. We mentioned power line safety. If you come across a downed power line, always treat it as if it's live. And also, as far as food goes, I mean, try to keep, if you don't have power, try to keep your fridge, your freezer doors shut. Open them as little as possible. And refrigerator, usually that food is good for up to about 4 hours. Anything beyond that, you have to throw it away. You know, a freezer lasts a lot longer, especially if you keep it packed with any frozen food or ice. The more stuff that's in your freezer, the longer that it's going to last if you're without power. So keep that in mind too, and just know that there's going to be probably some people that don't have power for a while, because there are a lot of power outages, and we'll get some numbers up there, but it's going to be a lot, given how widespread this wind event has been across northwest Indiana, and on top of how many tornadoes we're gonna count up from this one, yet to be seen, but still we're expected to have some power outages for a while, so we'll have to be prepared for that. And then later on, at least we're going to be quiet through this evening, later this afternoon and through this evening, no rain expected, but we may see some more thunderstorms returning back tomorrow, Pete.
Yeah, we've got actually the potential, albeit a little less for severe weather, at least as far as widespread severe weather goes. But that threat, unfortunately, is in the forecast for tomorrow as well. So a quick reset. We only have 2 active tornado warnings going on. The first one is right here for Porter County. That one goes until 11:30, just a couple more minutes. I have a feeling once that 11:30 time frame, or I'm sorry, 11:45. But I have a feeling that's going to expire a little bit early because, again, the fast movement of this system. And then we have LaPorte County here, which is under a tornado warning until noon today. So at 1 o'clock LaPorte County time, they're in the eastern time zone. So we are going to be looking at the storm moving its way through there as well. Now, we talked about power line safety. I also want to talk a little bit about if you are going to be traveling out and about, be cautious of standing water, because we're going to be looking at some flooding going on, and that old phrase, turn around, don't drown, will apply over the next few hours here, because there's likely going to be a lot of locations that have some standing water on the roadways, especially near underpasses. You want to steer clear of them. So with all the heavy rain that we saw, not only at times yesterday, overnight, into this morning, and over the weekend as well on Sunday. A lot of rain has fallen through the area, and we're just looking at the potential for flooding concerns going on as we go through the rest of the day today.
And reports of the Indiana Dunes State Park campground, the power's out and they're all sheltering in the bathhouse structures.
Not a bad idea. It's not ideal, But at least they're in a place that I've been there before. The bathhouse structures don't really have any windows, and they are an enclosed space. So it's better than nothing. And again, it's better than sitting in your car, although the car's not a bad place when there's lightning around. But when we have the wind gusts as powerful as we do today, certainly don't want to be hanging out in your car as well. So these are the two active tornado warnings that we're dealing with right now. Now into really the threat where we're seeing the rotation most is into eastern LaPorte or western LaPorte County here as it moves its way on off to the east. The remainder of the Chicago area, we're still under a severe thunderstorm watch. That is until 2 o'clock. So that hasn't been dropped for the area just yet. You can see those counties shaded in blue. So we still have that active severe thunderstorm watch going on. Nobody's been dropped from that. But now you can see the very heavy rain that has fallen. Yeah, we've seen these storms now kind of cluster just a little bit as they move their way on off. So there's a trail of heavy rain here that is working its way through northwest Indiana, places that don't want to see any more rain and certainly don't want to see any more severe weather, considering all the impacts that they've had pretty much all summer long. If we could take a look really quick as we look quickly, you can see there's outline there for the flood advisory or flood watch that we might be looking at, flash flood watch. There we go, flash flood warning. We're going to up that. Flash flood warning, again, because of the heavy rains that have fallen. So don't drive through high water, because the last thing you want to do is have your car stall out. Then you might have issues getting it restarted and everything. So certainly do not drive through standing water when you see it here. But you can see very heavy rain when we have those brighter colors there. That's where we're looking at some very intense downpours coming their way on down. Further on off, so we have our active tornado warnings. Still have a severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect for Lake County in northwest Indiana, as well as portions of Will County and Kankakee County in Illinois, and that severe thunderstorm warning also extends into Newton and Jasper counties in northwest Indiana too. But here's, I guess, I would say is our main area of concern here that we're picking up on the rotation, this in northwest Indiana. So the good news for the Chicago side and the Illinois side of this, we're starting to see the severe weather activity wind down rapidly. The bad news is, as you can see from the heavy rains moving through, we're still looking at some very heavy rain. So again, if you have anybody who lives, say, in Elkhart or points eastward, and they're heading to the Chicago area for the day today, tell them to hang out. Don't go anywhere just yet. Wait for this line to move its way on through, because it has moved rather rapidly. Tell them to get in their safe space instead, because we can certainly tell you, and as we have seen, spin-ups have occurred along this line. So here's what's going on right now. We're going to toss it over to Kevin here. If you can give us a quick overview of what's been happening here as far as the morning goes. What do you got lined up there?
So we have right now the threat of severe weather from the Storm Prediction Center. We talk about that, the level 1, 2, 3 out of 5. That has been scaled back. This is a loop again over the last 2 hours. I'm going to show you where it's been scaled back to. So now it's still a level 3 out of 5. That's across central Indiana and still including northwest Indiana, ongoing the severe weather right now, but significantly scaled back to the north and west. And we're looking at a forecast model now going forward in time. This is 12 o'clock. Showing, well, that here's the line of storms that move through. Still maybe closer to the lake, clipped by some showers, so still a little bit of rain around. Still kind of windy, too, as we get into the afternoon. But the severe threat is done for Illinois, and this will move out to the east this afternoon. Later on this evening, can't entirely rule out a spotty shower, maybe a non-severe rumble of thunder across northwest Indiana later on tonight, closer to sunset, and then overnight, still a chance of some showers and storms refiring up across north central Indiana. But as we move forward till tomorrow, again, around kind of the same part of the day, I think the timing still may change as we're looking at that. but there is the possibility it's a lower severe threat than what we've had today, but the possibility will still be there of maybe a couple of storms having straight line winds that could cause some damage once again tomorrow. And once again, it looks like around the middle part of the day into the afternoon, but we'll provide more updates. I know Pete, you will at 4 and Brent in this evening. Provide more updates on what tomorrow looks like. But for now, northern Illinois is out of the severe threat. But still in northwest Indiana and across LaPorte County, we're still talking about all how strong the winds are there. But all this rain that's expanding farther southeast, big concern still as all the rain's moving into central Indiana. But still, rain rates are over 4 inches per hour in some of these dark shades of red that you see. So as that's moving through western LaPorte County, that's going to continue to expand farther to the east. And a lot of this rain moving farther southeast, I think getting into the afternoon hours over the next couple of hours. And I think, and Pete, I did just see a report that was I think it was in LaPorte County, said State Road 2 and 421, that was in Westfield. A police officer was in his vehicle reporting roofing materials, tree and debris flying around where he was. So, and we don't know if that was either from a tornado or that could have also been from how strong these straight line winds are. I mean, we're not sure where that damage could be coming from, but that is in LaPorte County, where the winds are still really strong right now, Pete. I think some of these tornado warnings are starting to get pushed a little farther north and east, and I think we have one now into Michigan too, right, Pete?
Yeah, we've got some very gusty winds, and now new tornado warning. That's for Berrien County in southwest Michigan. So we're looking at a severe tornado warning there, as well as Cass County in northwest Indiana, also LaPorte County, and into Porter County in northwest Indiana as well. That Porter County one, you can see it flashing, goes until 11:45, so it's got another 9 minutes or so. As you can see, most of the activity has pushed its way on out of Porter County. So once that 11:45 time frame rolls around, that will be allowed to expire. But here's LaPorte County. You can see the heavy rain has moved its way on into that area. So far, not picking up much in the way of rotation, but as we have seen throughout the morning here, throughout watching this line move its way on through, that hasn't stopped powerful winds, but also some spin-ups along the way. But the spin-ups have been just as big of a story as the straight line winds have been out of the system. And as you can see, we're also looking at heavy rain as well. So we are still looking at this active tornado warning here for LaPorte County. Now, let's go on off to the east here a little bit. So we're starting to see some of the severe thunderstorm warnings getting dropped. We still have one for parts of Will County and also into eastern Kankakee County. But the warnings that were in effect for a little bit further to the west have moved their way on out. So at this point, the only tornado threat, at least for our viewing area, is in LaPorte County. If you're watching us, make sure you're in your safe space. If you have anybody who you know who lives just off to the east, let them know there is some scary weather on the way, because we still have this storm rapidly moving its way on off to the east. Further off to the west, we still have an active severe thunderstorm watch that is in effect until 2 o'clock. You can see the counties that are shaded in blue, and it appears as though they're going to be dropping portions of that in the next few minutes or so. So we are going to be looking at some of the area at least getting dropped from that. As you can see, there is much lighter rain that is still falling across the area. The good news is the winds have subsided quite a bit, but we're still looking at not only the lightning threat, heavy rain, but flooding too. As you can see now, here's eastern portions of Lake County into Porter County. We have an active flash flood warning that is in effect until 2 o'clock this afternoon. This because of the heavy rain coming down. We've already had quite a bit of rain. Then the sewers having a hard time keeping up with it. Here's the estimated rainfall. We're in the 5-inch range as far as rain over the course of the morning here. We had some thunderstorm cells that moved through earlier before this latest round arrived. So when you combine the two events, we've had quite a bit of heavy rain that has fallen across a good portion of Porter County here. And even where we're looking at lighter numbers here, we're still looking at 3 to 4 inch rainfall totals just from this particular event, just from what we've seen since midnight this morning. But you can see there's a lot of splotches of 5-inch plus rainfalls that we've seen across the area. So there are some active flash flood warnings that are going to be in effect here for the next several hours here. So again, that old maxim, turn around, don't drown, certainly applies, especially when it comes to those underpasses, or even some roadways where you see some water on the road. Part of the problem that when we have flooded roadways is you can't see what's underneath. The water is brown and murky, and you cannot see all the way to the roadbed, which may or may not be there, depending upon the strength and the current that the water is rushing through. So that's why we tell folks it's not worth it driving through ponding roadways. You just don't know what's underneath. Not to mention, if you just drive through a pothole, you could do some major damage to your car. So certainly when you see flooded roadways, and you're likely going to be seeing them in northwest Indiana with all of this heavy rain that has fallen, certainly take heed of that. Let's throw up really quick, if we could, the power outages map once again for the area. Well, let's update some of those numbers for you here and let you know what we're dealing with as far as the rest of the area goes. So as you can see, wow, look at that. We're looking
I
at...
see 242,000 for northwest Indiana and about 265,000 for ComEd.
Yeah, there's 130,000 customers in Cook County, another 180,000 customers in Lake County in northwest Indiana. So far, 58,000 in Porter County. I say 58,000 so far, just because the storms just moved their way on out. 96,000 in Will County, and we're also looking at another 20,000 in DuPage County. I have a math brain. I haven't had a chance to add these up, but we're looking at a significant total here as far as power outages go. And Kevin, this map aligns with, as far as the power outages go, with the warnings that we saw, because they did start, actually, the warnings started once the storms crossed the Mississippi River, but it seemed like they really picked up in intensity once they reached our area. So as you can see, good news is they've dropped most of our area here from the severe thunderstorm watch that was in effect until 2 o'clock. So we're in the clear as far as that goes. Still have some active severe thunderstorm warnings, as well as an active tornado warning for LaPorte County in northwest Indiana. That goes for another 3 minutes. Again, I have a feeling that's going to be dropped here pretty soon. And then we also have an active severe tornado warning, for LaPorte County. So we've had a couple of tornadoes touch down. We're going to be recapping that once we get into the newscast later on this afternoon. A lot of storm damage to assess, a lot of power outages to assess as well. But the good news is, at least for most of the Chicago area, looking at some heavy rain still in northwest Indiana. But the severe threat, again, continues to dwindle as we go through the next 15, 20 minutes or so, Kevin.
Yeah, we do have also so the watches have been scaled back. We also have this lakeshore flood warning until 5 p.m. We don't get this a whole lot, but with the wave heights fluctuating, there could be, at least along the immediate lakeshore through central and southern Cook County and even into Lake County, Indiana, there could be some lakeshore flooding. Be mindful of that as well. That goes through 5 p.m. But the watches have been scaled back. We still have a couple of the warnings still across northwest Indiana. Tornado warnings also expanding farther east, as Pete was just pointing out. So we're not going anywhere just yet. We're gonna stay here with this coverage, but now we're gonna bring in Alex Maragos with us and continue some of our coverage. And Alex, we're talking 500,000 customers without power in northwest Indiana and Illinois combined.
That's one of the things we'll be talking about here in just a minute. Pete and Kevin, I just want to thank you both very quickly for helping us understand and walking us through in real time some of the threats that we just faced over the last several hours. And many of our viewers, we want to thank you as well, because you've been sending in pictures and videos when it is safe to do so, allowing us to now recap what we have seen here in just the last couple of hours. So let's give you a look here. There's another active tornado. We want to get back to Pete here, and we're going to keep you guys close because the threat is continuing here, Pete. Yeah, we still have some heavy rains that are coming their way on down. We still have this active tornado warning for LaPorte County and then points eastward. That also includes Berrien County. I know there's some folks
in Union Pier who have us on the cable system and can pick us up on the antenna, you're looking at a tornado warning here until 1 o'clock. This current tornado warning expires at noon for LaPorte County, and also we have this tornado warning for Porter County that's likely going to be going away in the next 30 seconds here. But we have this very heavy rain that has moved its way on up. And let's kind of zoom this out just a little bit to show you what we're going to be looking at as far as our side of the lake. Because as these storm cells move their way on over the lake, the gusty winds move their way on over the lake. It's referred to as a seiche. Basically what this line of thunderstorms does is it pushes the water on the other side of the lake. It's kind of like if you're in the bathtub and you push your body forward and all the water, you're pushing it in one direction, it splashes back. So we have this lakeshore flood advisory for our side of the lake because we're looking at the water piling up on one side and then splashing back on the other. Again, it's referred to as a seiche. That's why we have that lakeshore flood warning in place, or advisory rather, but that's an indication of just how powerful these storms were. When they're able to push the water to the other side of the lake and have it splash back, we're talking about a very powerful system here. So there you go, the warning that was in effect, the tornado warning for Porter County, that has since been dropped. We still have our active tornado warning for LaPorte County. As you can see, heavy rain still going on. Most of the time, in most instances here, we've seen these tornado reports and these tornado spin-ups and a lot of the debris signatures we've seen on the front edge of the rain as it moved its way on through. That doesn't quite let the back edge off the hook completely, but most of the activity, most of the severe weather activity that we've seen as far as the straight line winds go and as far as the rotation goes, we've seen on the front edge of this. And as you can see, the front edge is currently right now moving its way on through LaPorte County as well. So heavy rains continue to come down there. We still have a lot of heavy rain over the lake. If you know anybody on the other side of the lake who might have a boat in the water, tell them to get out because we're looking at very powerful winds here. But this has been a very active storm system. We're now almost 2 hours into, I think we broke into coverage at about 10:10 this morning, a little before 10:10. So we're closing in on the 2-hour mark as far as the storm is concerned. But we are, again, looking at a dangerous situation here. Let's double back and talk about the down power lines one more time here, because with all of the power outages going on, and here's an overview. We're going to be starting in Lake County in Illinois, 500, but once we go further on southward, now we're really starting to see the numbers pile up. 130,000 customers without power in the city, 180,000 people without power, customers rather, without power in Lake County in northwest Indiana, almost 100,000 in Will County. We have a lot of power lines down right now. We've got a lot of live power lines down. Please make sure that you steer clear of them. Don't mess with them, especially if they're right near your house. You make sure that you're taking every precaution that you possibly can. Keep the kids indoors. Make sure you're steering clear of these, because with all of these outages here, again, the power company, what they basically want to do is they go and try to fix the larger areas first. They go for the bigger lines, and then they kind of work their way on down the line. So there's going to be a lot of live wires, though, that they're still dealing with. They're going to, before they can start work, in a lot of locations, they cut power off completely so that they can work individually safely before they bring everything back online. So another note of caution here, if you have power right now, be prepared. It might go off briefly while they start putting more people back online. So 1-800-EDISON, that's the number to call if, repeat that? Yeah, that's right. 1-800-EDISON-1. That's the phone number. That's the phone number that you want to call in Illinois if you see a down power line. If they don't answer right away, or if you get the robot, just leave the message. They're going to get to it in due time. But I'm sure right now, Edison's getting inundated with calls. NIPSCO in northwest Indiana, I'm sure they're getting inundated with calls. go ahead and call them anyhow, because again, we're looking at 58,000 customers without power in Porter County, 180,000 customers without power in Lake County in Northwest Indiana. I'm guessing, Kevin, but I would think that that would be just about everybody. Or a lot of people in Lake County. I would guess that almost the entire county now is in the dark. 130,000 customers in Chicago, and I have a feeling this number is going to go up as more phone calls come in.
265,000 for NIPSCO customers.
265,000, so an incredibly high number. So I'm sure the crews are going to be, as soon as the rain clears, because we still have some heavy rain coming down, as soon as they get the opportunity to go on out, they're going to be working 24/7. So, you know, if you see a road crew, power crew that the working on the power in your neighborhood, be nice to them. If you've got any snacks laying around, or they could probably certainly use a water break, help them out, because they're helping you out. They're going to be working overtime as they try to bring everybody back online. So with it, okay, yeah, the tornado threat. Good news is it is exiting LaPorte County right now. That tornado warning goes for another 10 minutes. So the good news is LaPorte County is going to be in the clear very soon. But it's been a very active morning, and we're still looking at, here's New Buffalo and into Union Pier. We're looking at some rotation potentially occurring there. Here's live Doppler 5. There is a tornado warning that goes into effect until I believe that will be 1 o'clock in New Buffalo, because they are on the Eastern time zone there. 12:30 in New Buffalo, 1:30 their time. So again, now we're starting to pick up rotation again. So now that this area that moved its way on over the water is now back on land again, we're looking at that. So a lot of folks who live in Illinois, I know, have interest that in Southwest Michigan there, into, again, Union Pier, and also into New Buffalo, Grand Beach. Make sure that you steer clear of the area for a little while, because we're going to be looking at the heavy rain not only moving through right now, but in the coming days, it's going to take a while for power to come back on, for debris areas to be cleaned up. I have a feeling that because of the extent of the power outages that we're seeing, there's going to be a lot of downed trees as a result of this. So it's going to take a little while for all of that debris to be cleaned up as well. Not to mention what might have happened when we've had these tornado spin-ups. What might have happened to ground structures. So far, no reports of any injuries. Fingers crossed, that's the good news that we'll hold on to out of all of this. But we've had a very nasty storm move its way on through. We still have, again, this active tornado warning for LaPorte County that is in effect for another 8 minutes before that is allowed to expire. Still picking up on some rotation here in extreme southwest Michigan. Again, there's New Buffalo. You can see it approaching Three Oaks there as well. And so we're looking at, again, a very nasty situation winding its way on down, at least for us, but it's not going to be over for folks in southwest Michigan, also in eastern Indiana. So we're going to continue to monitor this. Kevin, what you have for us as far as new developments?
Well, the rain isn't quite done as well. I know the severe threat is over in Illinois, but still this light rain is going to be around for a while, and at times it could also flare up, especially along the I-80 corridor where there's still the boundary there. So there may still be some areas of rain, even some thunder south of I-80 in Illinois, but the severe threat is gone. But we've been talking about northwest Indiana, still the ongoing tornado warnings. In blue are the severe thunderstorm warnings, and then the light blue shade you see here, those are the flash flood warnings that are ongoing. So the flash flood warning for central Porter County continues. This is a look at just the tornado warnings, which again for LaPorte County that expires in about 7 minutes. So with that threat now beginning to push into southwestern Michigan, that is set to expire in about 7 minutes. Severe thunderstorm warnings, we'll just highlight those right now. Still ongoing for Jasper and Newton and Porter just until, again, 12 o'clock as well. And then I want to highlight the flash flood warnings that are into effect too. So you had a lot of flash flooding from earlier thunderstorms before the really intense winds pushed through Illinois. So you had some of these flash flood warnings that were issued a long time ago, but this one for Porter County was the latest one, and that one goes until, let's see if we can get that one to, that's until 2:30. So that flash flood warning is still going to last for a while. And in areas that you didn't have flash flooding, I mean, there's still at least likely some ponding of water on the roads. And again, as Pete keeps mentioning too, you got to be careful. There's so many power outages and so many power lines down. Every power line that you see or you come across, you have to treat it as if it's live. So don't go near it. Don't let your pets or your kids go outside or go near it. If you have power lines that you see down, especially in the backyard, make sure everybody's staying inside, and you call the authorities, and then you report it, but stay inside and don't try to pick up anything. And also, especially if you're still dealing with the lightning, the thunder, you want to wait a good 30 minutes before you get out to assess any damage or potential damage that you've had. Some of the strongest lightning strikes actually occur on the back end of thunderstorms like this. When you get these big towering thunderstorms, on the back side of it, you can get some really strong cloud-to-ground lightning. So it's safest just to wait at least 30 minutes before you're going out and assessing the damage and seeing what kind of damage that you may have. But power outages for a while, so we're talking over probably 500,000 up to this point, and I think plenty more reports are still going to be coming in across northwest Indiana. So with that in mind, you try to keep from opening up the refrigerator as much as you can. Again, refrigerator food in there is okay for up to about 4 hours as long as you're not opening the door. And the freezer could be good for up to 24 hours as long as you have a lot of stuff in there. So something to keep in mind too, as this is going to be for a while going forward, Pete, that we're going to be dealing with power outages and cleanup.
Yeah, look at that. ComEd, almost 290,000 customers without power.
And that's not even the highest that we've seen out of storms this summer. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
like how many times is this going to happen?
It has been outlandish how many severe storms that we've had and the number of, and keep in mind when we talk about customers, it's a household. So that if there's 4 people in that household, on average, that's how many people are dealing with power outages right now. And so, yeah, you really feel for the folks who are going to be without power. And I have a feeling it's going to be a while. I was just looking at on the National Weather Service chat, looking at some of the pictures that have come in of a lot of large trees that are down. Before any work can be done on the power poles, they got to take care of the trees, because some of those tree branches are actually on the power lines or in the way of crews trying to get to work on the power lines. So this is going to be a long duration event. Be ready for it right now, folks. This is going to be a long duration event as far as the power outages go and getting people back online. So my best advice when you get an opportunity to do some grocery shopping, buy a lot of non-perishable items, because, again, it's going to be a little while. You can see some of the pictures that we're showing here on the split screen here. Large trees have come down. When we have wind gusts over 80 miles an hour, which have been reported here and there throughout the line of thunderstorms as they moved on through, when we have trees that are completely leafed out, that's where we have the trees acting almost like a sail on a sailboat. It catches the wind. The wind doesn't go through the leaves. The leaves actually catch that wind and turn it into a sail and make it a lot harder for the wind to go through. Thus, we're looking at a lot of tree branches that have been broken by this. If you see a tree that is completely blown over from the root ball, that is an indication that we've had very heavy rain lately. The ground has softened up a lot. We've had a lot of heavy rain, not only in July, but certainly to start out the month of August. And when the rain falls and saturates the ground, it makes it a lot less able to hold the soil in. It loosens up the soil to the point where if we get a very powerful wind, it's just going to knock the tree out right by the root ball. I have a feeling that we're going to be looking at a lot of instances as far as that goes as well. But again, as you can see, we have power outages, numerous power outages. And again, it's very interesting to point out here, looking at the power outages in DeKalb County and also into Kendall and Grundy counties. They're a little bit less, but that's also where we saw the storms really begin to not only accelerate, but we also saw the destruction accelerate as those storms move through as well. And this is also in a couple of locations along the way. where we had some tornadoes either confirmed or at least radar reported. So between all of the spin-ups and the strong winds, we have really seen a lot of damage occurring to the area. So, okay, here we go. So here's, as you can see, we have the National Weather Service, and this is going to help them in their damage assessment. You can send the damage pictures to nws.chicago.noaa.gov. It's a long address, so if you have your phone out, take a picture of that. What this is going to help the National Weather Service do, and what might help you out as well, is if you have pictures that they can look at and confirm. Was it straight line winds? Was it a tornado that went through? This is actually going to be, let's call it some insurance for you when you go ahead and consult your insurance company. You can say, hey, I sent this in the National Weather Service. They were able to use this as evidence that we had very strong winds or that we had a tornado move its way on through. So you could actually use this as kind of ammunition to file a claim, because I have a feeling a lot of folks are going to be filing a claim as a result of the storm. So again, take a picture of that email address that you see there. When you do take pictures, make sure you do it safely. Like Kevin mentioned, great advice. Treat all power lines as if they are live. And the good news, I could tell you, there are no more active tornado warnings or severe thunderstorm warnings in the area. Alex, I'm going to turn it over to you.
That's good to hear that the threat has subsided. Thank you both, Kevin and Pete, for all of your expertise here. We did get so many pictures and videos from our viewers who have safely shot these. And we just want to show our viewers right now just some of what has come through in the last 2 hours now since we have been on the air. This first picture is just the heavy rain in Naperville, the sirens going off here when that storm first came through. Of course, this storm starting in the western suburbs. It's moving its way quickly east. This next video we got is from Joliet. The south and southwest suburbs, of course, hit so hard by the wind and the rain, and we have sent multiple crews out across the area to try to assess the damage and bring you a look through the afternoon of how bad it is. But that view there of the front yard in Joliet. And here's a look at the flooding already. This is in Naperville, of the standing water that is on that street there in Naperville. And in the distance there, that is a car that is stalled out there in the middle of the street that tried to get through and did not take the advice that Pete and Kevin were both talking about, because you just never know what is underneath the street when you have something like that. Moments ago, we just also learned about several roads being shut down in Romeoville due to flooding. Trees knocked down there as well. So just be extra cautious if you're out driving right now. There's an open shelter right now at 900 West Romeo Road. If you're in the Romeoville area, you need some place to go. Maybe you lost power or your building is just not it's structurally safe right now. So anybody who needs shelter at all can come to that recreation center right there listed on your screen at Romeo Road. We've had a couple of storm chasers out over the last hour or so, getting their own view of the storm as it blew through from west to east. Charlie Wachowski is in Storm Chaser 5 on his way to Romeoville, where there is some flooding right now. Charlie, I don't know if you can hear me. If you can tell us what you've seen since you've been out on the roads.
We are just getting into Romeoville right now, Alex, and we are seeing a lot of standing water on the roads as we get into town. We've driven through a couple of waves of heavy rain on our way out here. We took a circuit from the city all the way out to Wheaton and then south to Romeoville. What we've seen is branches down, some small trees down, we saw a fence down, but mostly we've seen very, very heavy rain. It slowed down traffic on I-88 as we were coming out. We saw a number of big semis pull off to the side of the road to wait out the storm there, but you didn't see any really severe damage, at least on the route that we took. We haven't seen power out. Almost everywhere we've gone, we've seen the traffic lights are on, the lights in businesses are on, but what we're seeing a lot of right now is standing water on the roadways. There have been a couple of viaducts where when you go underneath the viaduct, there is a low spot in the road. Those have filled up with water. We've seen cars plowing through those. Not a good idea, especially if you want to continue past that area. No car stalls as far as we've seen, though. Right now, Romeoville, the skies are gray. The rain is a continuous situation. It keeps falling We are seeing standing water off to the side of the road in some of the storm drainage areas. Those have filled up with water. We are on our way to see where we can find a little bit more of the damage that you guys have been talking about. But so far, at least from the loop from the city out to Wheaton and south to Romeoville, power has been on, roads have been passable. There is standing water on the roadways. However, some of the bigger semis have pulled off just to wait out the worst of the storms. Alex, back to you.
Charlie, thanks. We know we're going to be surveying that area throughout the afternoon. We'll check in with you later. Here's another video, this one coming in from Cicero. Several trees down right now. Take a look at the damage there. You see the wind kind of causing damage to that tree across the street from where this video was taken, and then the branch just falling right there in that shot. And take a look. We have some new video. This is just into the newsroom. This is from a viewer in Frankfurt. So this one's a little longer, so just stick with it here. This is a Ring camera on the front porch of this home that actually caught the moment the storm came through Frankfurt. So you're going to see a person leave the house and quickly realize that's not a safe place to be and go right back in the house, because watch what happens in this front yard. Catching the wind and the rain, making its way through Frankfurt. And you can even hear the sound of the storm just in from the microphone on that camera when some of that rotation starts to happen and the strong wind that came through and things just flying through the front yard, whipping that front door open. So we're glad that person went back inside just in time. And I know, Pete, you might have some thoughts about what to do when something like this happens.
Well, Alex, I just want to add, this is why we tell people to take shelter immediately.
Yeah.
It is incredible how fast those strong winds came up on that person, and but it's amazing how quickly the winds picked up and made a very dangerous situation there. So I'm glad the person who came outside decided it was a very good idea, because you saw all the stuff that was blowing through that picture as well. There was it looked like a kiddie pool cover that was getting blown around like a playing card in the strong winds. So that's why we tell folks, get in your safe place immediately. Don't delay, because those winds were on that person, on that house in no time at all. So a quick overview right here. You can see, again, we do not have any active tornado warnings for the area. LaPorte County was dropped, so we're good to go as far as the warnings go. We don't have any active severe thunderstorm watches. We're just dealing with some rain. But as Alex was showing you, we have a lot of areas where there are down power lines, down trees. It's going to take a while for the customers to come back online. So far, just 500 in Lake County. But as we move our way southward, that's where we're looking at some pretty impressive numbers. 130,000 customers without power right now in Cook County. 180,000 customers without power right now in Lake County and Northwest Indiana. Another 58,000 customers in Porter County, 32 in LaPorte County. And then as we work our way westward here, you can see almost 100,000 customers without power in Will County, another 20,000 in Wheaton. So we're going to be, I have a feeling we're going to see these numbers padded just a little bit more. So 1-800-EDISON-1, that's the phone number that you need to call if you see a down power line if you're in Illinois. NIPSCO, you can call a NIPSCO hotline. They will let you know and let them know that you have down power lines as well. But again, Kevin has mentioned this numerous times, but it bears repeating. Treat every power line, especially right now, as if it is live, because the power companies are just getting started on this. We only started the severe weather event 2 hours ago. We've already moved through it, and so now we're seeing the aftermath. But again, Alex, we've seen some incredible damage come in.
The watch has just been dropped for the rest of Northwest Indiana, too.
Okay,
so
Everything's been dropped? Okay.
Good news.
The watch has dropped for Newton, Jasper, and Porter counties.
That's
Perfect.
good news.
Wonderful news.
Kevin, Pete, one of the tornadoes that you mentioned during your coverage about an hour ago was in Homewood. Rose Schmidt is in Homewood right now in Storm Chaser 5, where we had that confirmed tornado. And Rose, we just saw you drive up on this damage.
Yeah, Alex, I want to show you what we're seeing right now. I mean, this is a lot of what we're seeing right now on side streets in Homewood. There are trees completely covering the roadway. So we are being extra cautious as we're driving around, and we urge other people to be as well. There's debris, there are down trees, there's branches, so really be careful as you're driving around. We've also heard that there are some viaducts that are closed and some roads that are closed at this time. We also saw at least 2 traffic lights that are out right now. And right now, the good news is that there's no rain going on. We've seen some light drizzling. I think we left the worst of that in the city. But right now, if you're going to be driving through this area, please be cautious. We've actually seen a lot of people kind of looking at the damage as well. So be careful of that. There are several areas where there was standing water and there were roadways that were completely flooded out. So make sure if you're going to be driving, do not drive through that flood water. Do not drive around barricades. Those are also some messages that Homewood Village officials want to send to people right now at the same time. So if you are going to be out, make sure you're being cautious. They're also asking people, if you don't have to be, please stay home. So keep an eye on the times that you would be taking, plan that extra travel time if you have to go out. And for now, we'll send it back to you, Alex.
All right, Rose, we know you're going to be surveying more damage in the Homewood area. Thank you for a look there. Here's a live look at Navy Pier. Not a great picture, but the reason why we're telling you about Navy Pier is because about 30 minutes ago, everyone was evacuated to the parking garage there, that reinforced steel structure and concrete structure they have there. Natalie Martinez was inside at the time. She's the one that let us know about that. The sirens did go off at Navy Pier. We should note everybody is safe there. It was just a precaution as the storm moved across the area. The shelter in place at Navy Pier has just been lifted. And we know many office buildings as well told their employees to get to a safe place, usually a stairwell, trying to get to lower floors as well. Let's give you a look now at the power outages here. This is both from ComEd and NIPSCO, the latest numbers that we have. 289,633 on the Illinois side, and then you see the NIPSCO numbers, 242,000 power outages. Again, these are just addresses, so these are just individual homes or apartment numbers, so the amount of people affected by this, as both Pete and Kevin mentioned earlier, certainly much, much higher. We do want to thank our viewers who are sharing videos when they can do so and pictures when they can do so safely. Here's a picture of just a tree completely snapped right there and blown over. We expect to see a lot more videos and pictures just like this. Also at this hour, we're learning that Lincoln Way Central High School in New Lenox lost power. Not a surprise considering all the numbers that we have seen. But the tough part was at the time they were having a freshman orientation and a parent preview that was set up for today. That's been canceled for the day. The school tells us they're going to send out more information on a makeup date when that will be rescheduled. So we'll have that for you as soon as we get it. But a lot of places without power. And Pete, we got this picture here of how many different people in different counties have been impacted as we saw those storms, of course, go from basically the northwest down to the southeast, and you see how much that's impacted our southern counties. Yeah, we're getting a lot of damage reports now. Most of them are from trees down. Of course, power outages too. We have our power outages map here that give us live updates. Basically, these numbers, as these numbers get changed, it's because the information is changing. We don't have to do anything to this. Computer takes care of it for us. And so again, with the almost 190,000 customers in Northwest Indiana, or actually it was 240,000. Over 240,000 customers in Northwest Indiana and almost 300,000 customers on the Illinois side. So we're talking about over 500,000 customers, likely more than 1 million people right now without power. We've got some video in from Mokina that we're going to be showing you here because, okay, it's loading up here, but here you go. This is from Mokina, sent into Brant from Leo Kammer. Fortunately taken, it looks like, from the inside, but as you can see, very powerful winds. Look at the rain getting blown around by the winds, the trees as well. So we're looking at a very powerful event. Fortunately, at least for this tree, looks like it made it through, but a lot of others haven't. So when Rose Schmidt was on, when she was in the southern suburbs, in Homewood rather, you saw a lot of trees down. Make sure you use a lot of caution near even some trees because there's likely some down power lines nearby as well. Be very cautious of that as you go through the rest of the day today. Take lots of pictures of the damage just so you have some information to pass along to the insurance company. And again, we brought you the website before the information to send pictures to the National Weather Service. That's going to help them immensely because they're going to be able to assess the damage and see what happens here. A trampoline that obviously, again, when we're talking about gusty winds and a trampoline getting blown around like this, that's an indication that we had just very powerful winds and the wind's doing whatever it wanted to that particular trampoline. So you could see
The only thing that stopped it from blowing away completely was a car. But again, an indication of the very strong winds that we had. So when it's safe, take pictures. Now, I said when it's safe. Kevin had mentioned before, we're still looking at lightning around the area. Even though the heavier rain event has moved its way on out, we still have a lot of lightning that's in the area. So if you can hear thunder, you can be struck by lightning. Make sure that when you do go out and about, do it in a safe manner, because lightning can be very dangerous as well. As you can see, the lightning strikes, what are we at with the lightning counter here? We're looking at a lot of high numbers here as far as that goes. So again, another way to stay safe in all of this. Kevin apparently has something there's to update. Kevin?
Well, just adding with the safety part too, because something else that we haven't talked about that I've seen reports of a lot of times is the safety of cleanup. So a lot of people, maybe you got a chainsaw and you want to get out there right away and you want to clean up some of the trees, some of the debris. You've got to be careful. There have been fatalities before, after the storm passes. And anytime there's an injury or a fatality, it's heartbreaking. But after the storm, you've just got to take it slow and just be safe. Make sure you're paying attention to your surroundings. Know where there may be any power lines. And just know what you're doing too, before you go out there and just start cutting down parts of the tree and trying to do that in a hurry. So slow down when you're doing that. As far as taking the videos too, it's easy. We tell you to stay away from windows. I know we all want to take video. You want to see what's going on. When you see the wind coming from one direction, you might think, okay, it's safe. The tree is getting blown that way. It's getting pushed that way. But if there is a tornado, there's going to be a quick change in wind direction too. So that tree could also snap back the other direction. So just more emphasizing the safety part during the thunderstorms, during the storms, but also after the fact. Just when we're in the cleanup process, we've got to really slow down and be safe, be careful out there. And still, a lot of power lines are likely down on the ground. A lot of trees down, more than usual, the amount of trees that are down because of this widespread straight line wind event, along with the tornadoes that we did see. And
I think you guys should also remind people about the dangers of improperly using generators, because we're going to have a lot of people using generators in the days ahead, because the power will be out for such a long time for many people, unfortunately.
Yeah, you never make sure it's outside, make sure it's in a well-ventilated area. Don't just leave it running in your garage. You got to practice safety with that. And above all, make sure that is outside, it's well ventilated, none of those fumes are getting inside the home. Because you do get a lot of reports of, unfortunately, that happening as well. So read the manual, read the instructions, just be safe. And remember, just slow down. Whatever you're doing to clean up, whether it be starting the generator or cleaning up some debris or picking up glass that might have been broken, you just got to slow down and safety above everything else.
Yeah, one thing to kind of piggyback off of you, Kevin, with the chainsaw safety, it's one thing to operate a chainsaw and you're lopping branches off of a tree. It's something completely different when you have large limbs down and you have the potential for kickback. So if you've never done that before, if you don't know how the tensions of a tree branch and how it might fall and the proper way to cut it so that you avoid that kickback, you avoid that chainsaw getting jammed up. If you've never done that before, now is not the time to learn. Make sure you leave that up to a professional who knows exactly what they're doing, exactly how to approach those larger limbs to make sure that you do it in a safe manner here. As you can see, we've wound our way on down as far as the severe threat goes. We do not have any active watches or warnings as far as severe thunderstorms go or tornadoes go. We still have some active flash flood warnings in northwest Indiana. This because many locations in Lake County, as well as especially Porter County and into LaPorte County in northwest Indiana, have picked up more than 5 inches of rain just today. So we're looking at some still very ponding on roadways is just adding to the concern with all the trees down, all the power lines down, and you can also see the flashing lights that are in the background. We still have quite a bit of lightning in the area. So before you do anything as far as taking pictures of the damage of your house, making sure, so that you can let the insurance company know exactly what happened to you. Make sure that the lightning has moved out of the area. Here's another video that we have, this from Ed Brooks in Bolingbrook. So this is in Will County, and as you can see, again, we're looking at torrential rains coming their way on down, and especially when you can see it looks like it's like sheets of rain getting blown by the wind. We have very powerful winds that are blowing here, kind of, now you can see it's just blowing on the glass there. I do want to add, Ed, great video, but I want you to make sure that maybe this is just like a 10-second clip and then you're going to a safe space, because videos like these are taken in front of a window, and more people are hurt by flying glass than anything else. So we want you, when you do videos like this, we want to make sure that you're absolutely safe in doing so. But again, we're looking at just heavy sheets of rain coming down, wind-blown rain that made visibility difficult at times, and certainly with the strong winds also created all of the power outages that we're seeing right now and all the damage that we've seen right now as well. So we've been emphasizing it all morning long, and we're going to continue to emphasize it in the coming days. Safety, safety, safety. There are ways that we get you through these storms so that you are safe and that you're secure, and most importantly, that your loved ones are safe as well, because all the damage that's occurred, that could be replaced. We can replace that. We can't replace you. So here's a look at the radar, and you can see most of the heavier rain has moved its way on out. Still some light scattered showers across the area, so not quite done with the rain. And as long as we're not done with the rain, don't worry about, again, like taking those pictures of the damage just yet, because where there's rain, there's likely going to be still a little lightning and thunder around. You can see a lot of flashing going on as far as the lightning strikes go. So we want you to stay safe through all of this. So we've got a little more video.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Okay. Live picture coming in. Where are we at right now? But as you can see, there's Romeoville. That's a power line. I'm guessing that it's not supposed to be that low to the ground. So we're looking at the video there of some power lines that look like they were tangled up in a tree that had been blown down. But that's an indication of all the work that needs to be done. Here we go. Here's another look at it. And Alex, you can see there's a lot of power lines that are tangled up in the trees there. There's the generator going, a Generac generator, but that's likely going to be put to good use over the next several days here, because I think it's going to be a long while before we see these power outages and everybody's power restored here.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of different shots of this kind of damage from across the south and southwest suburbs, especially since that seems to be the area that was hardest hit by the storms that we saw. Again, we get Rose Schmidt, who's out in Homewood, and then Charlie Majeski in the Romeoville area, trying to cover as much ground as they can to get a better look. And as folks can probably tell, this is video just coming in raw here from our crews that are out in the field. So, and Kevin, we know you got the difference here to show us some important lessons.
I was doing this explainer a couple of weeks ago, and what the difference is, and what the National Weather Service storm damage survey teams are going to be looking at. And this is an old National Weather Service photo, but this shows just what you look at from an aerial perspective, and that's just damage in just a counterclockwise direction. So you're looking at whenever you get trees that are bent in different directions, and a lot of times they are snapped versus just uprooted. Straight line winds you tend more to have the entire tree fall over and gets uprooted. But when you think about it, you have a force going one direction and the wind changes direction, so it's like you're taking a stick and you're just trying to move it back and forth until it snaps. And that's what's more likely from tornadoes. So it's more localized, but oftentimes it creates more damage, and EF1 could be 65 up to 110 miles per hour. That'd be an EF1. And this is a look at straight line winds. So all these trees blown straight down. This is what the biggest concern across northwest Indiana was. When you get that widespread of winds that were in excess of 100 miles per hour, you could get trees just knocked straight down. A lot of these end up getting uprooted. So that's just a look at some of what the damage could look like as they're going to be out. Teams will be out surveying that and seeing what that looks like in the coming days. Storm reports we've had today. The square yellow boxes are all wind damage reports, and then the green diamond shapes, those are all hail reports. likely from earlier in the day, too. So St. John around Lake County, Indiana, and also around Knox, you see some hail reports there. But that was likely from earlier in the day. And again, just going forward, since we talked about some rain, still some thunder around this afternoon, here's where the severe threat has been scaled back. And really, in the next update, this is going to continue to be scaled way back for the rest of this afternoon. But this is a forecast model going forward through the afternoon. Still some areas of rain, possibly some thunder, but not severe through the next 2 hours or so, maybe through 3 p.m. And then quiet weather this evening, overnight tonight. Can't entirely rule out a spotty shower, maybe a non-severe thunderstorm, rumble of thunder. Could be a little more development, though, later on in the overnight hours across northern and north central Indiana. So drying out as we get through the afternoon. But as Pete also mentioned, we still have some areas where you might still get some lightning or thunder, even though the severe threat has passed.
Yeah, and we often talk about the severe threat, but even lightning can be very, very dangerous. So that's where we want you to take caution. It doesn't have to be a severe thunderstorm in order for lightning to be around, and that can easily be just as dangerous. James Nair sends this picture, and here's the before. Looks very nice with just some damage down, but the after effects you can see with the trees blown down here, and you can see how they're snapped off here, an indication of, again, the very strong winds and the likelihood that we perhaps had tornado spin up. So when you take these pictures here, and again, I'm wondering if we could show that URL once again, that email address, that folks can send their pictures into the National Weather Service. This is going to do a couple of things. One, the pictures were going to help emphasize your argument to the insurance company that it was indeed storm damage. There's the website, by the way, the email address, nws.chicago.noaa@noaa.gov. So take a picture of that. They want to see your pictures. Because we have such widespread damage, we have basically damage that occurred from northern Cook County all the way through to Kankakee County. We're talking about 150 miles of damage, and that extended into northwest Indiana as well. This is going to help the National Weather Service teams determine exactly what happened as far as whether it was a straight line wind event or it was a tornado that touched down. We did have some confirmed tornadoes. Right now, when Kevin showed that storm reports map, a lot of wind damage. There's a pretty good chance, because we've shown those before, and Kevin can tell you that too, that after the fact, those yellow squares turned to red triangles because we had indeed a confirmed tornado. This is in Crete. Once again, one of the locations where we had the potential for a tornado. As you can see, very heavy rain, and look at the branches coming down, snapping off, especially when you see the higher levels there. That is an indication of the strong rotation a little bit higher up as opposed to right on the ground. So that's an indication that there was likely some sort of rotation going on near there. But again, an indication of the very powerful storm that we were dealing with. So, Alex, this has been a very eventful morning now moving into the afternoon, and there's going to be much more to come on the events of this morning.
And speaking of branches down, Pete, we have a live picture here coming in from Cicero. And this is from our Telemundo colleagues who are on the ground. This is just raw video. You see the cleanup already starting here as crews are now out trying to get these trees off the sidewalk, off the street. And you see some standing water there as well, because you guys also mentioned the threat of flooding that we have had throughout the day. And let's also give folks a live picture here at the current conditions at Midway. Is still very cloudy and rainy, though much better than it was. The control tower at the airport was briefly evacuated this morning when the storm did come through, but we have seen the technicians go back into the control tower to try to get everything back to normal at Midway, because we know both O'Hare and Midway had a ground stop for a period of time waiting for these storms to blow through. And take a look at this just moments ago. New reports of flooding here on an expressway. This is I-55 eastbound approaching First Avenue. That's flooded. That's a low-lying area that's had problems with flooding before. So on the left-hand side of your screen, you see there that flooding there on I-55 heading into the city. We also have some more video here of some siding that was damaged. This is at a home in St. John, Indiana, so we know about all the damage that ripped through Lake County, of course, an area that has had already so much storm damage from summer storms earlier on this year, so some cleanup to do there in St. John. We know a very strong storm blew through Maryville, which is also very close to where that picture is. And then also take a look at this. You see how strong the winds have been, and you guys have been talking about the wind speeds. This semi rolling over at I-65 near Lowell. That is always a problem point for strong wind, rain, a lot of water that can go onto the road there. Very strong winds usually in Lowell. If you've ever driven down I-65, you can just tell that even if you're not driving a high vehicle, your car or your truck might move a little bit because there always seems to be strong wind, and especially true when this storm came through. So I-65, at least those lanes shut down while this semi is taken off the road. Also just in, the city of Flossmoor told us that an unconfirmed tornado did touch down right at 11 o'clock. If you were with us on the air around that time, you probably heard Pete and Kevin talk about that. Of course, moving through Homewood at the time, they tell us there's lots of damage and trees down. This is from Flossmoor, these pictures that we're showing you here. So one viewer sending us in, kind of hard to make out, but this tree actually fell onto a home's garage. So that's what is supposed to be underneath all those branches and trees, causing a lot of damage. And we want to thank our viewers who sent us and tagged us in all of these different looks. So this just gives you a pretty good look, widespread, of kind of the different effects of the storm, everything from some really ominous clouds to the wind and the rain, branches and trees down, and then a storm picture as well. So the village, by the way, in Flossmoor also says there's a lot of flooding reported on the roads as well. I'm sure everybody who had a chance to get a glimpse of this throughout the morning, Kevin, was taking some kind of picture, especially those clouds as they started to move through.
Yeah.
Our O'Hare camera gave us a good look as it was moving in above O'Hare, but just a really scary morning for a lot of people.
I mean, what an unreal summer. You know, I mean, really, like we're already past the record number of tornadoes just for the Chicago area, you know, before today. And I don't know how many we're going to be adding to that tally, but it's been a record breaker not only for Illinois, the whole state, but also just for the Chicago area, a record number of tornadoes. And we've just had a lot of severe thunderstorms so far this season. And here's what the rain looks like right now. So winding down, but again, still some areas where we might get some thunder. And this is a look at the wind speed. So I'm just looping this over the last 2 hours. So just to give you a recap of where the strongest winds were as they marched. Here's the radar site right in the middle. So these bright colors, really strong winds just fanned out, moved across eastern Will County, southern Cook County, and into northwest Indiana. And so that's where we had some of the strongest, most at least widespread straight line winds, but obviously a bunch of embedded tornadoes within that too. And you think of some of those areas like southern Cook County and across Will County. I mean, really all in northwest Indiana too, but those areas in particular have been hit really hard this year, this season. We've had multiple flooding events. We've had multiple tornadoes, sometimes in the same neighborhood, sometimes down the same street, and those same areas getting hit yet again. So really unfortunate, but I am happy that we haven't seen any reports of injuries yet, and I hope that continues to be the case. But what just an exceptionally active season we've had so far, Pete, and I think you might agree with me on how unusual that this year has really been.
Yeah, it's been very, very crazy, the fact that we've seen so many tornadoes. And it seems like every time it rains, we have a severe weather event. Now, I go back to Lollapalooza. There was no necessarily severe weather, but it certainly rained a lot, so that turned that event into a mud fest. But it seems like, again, every time we have some sort of rain event, we have severe weather. Quick recap, again, of the power outages. Basically, we have more than 500,000 customers without power, well over 500,000 without power as far as the customers go in when you combine Northwest Indiana and Illinois. So you can see 32,000 in LaPorte County, 60,000 Porter County, and 180,000 customers right now without power in Lake County in Northwest Indiana. It seems like that would be just about everybody that we're including in that. 96,000 customers without power right now in Will County, 130,000 customers right now in Cook County, as well as 20,000 in DuPage County. And then you can see 5,000 customers without power right now in back into Kane County. These numbers likely going to be going up because we've had, we're only like an hour after the event has moved its way on out. So these numbers will likely be going up in the coming hours before they finally level off and then hopefully start falling down. But if you're able to watch right now, streaming right now, and you're without power, I can tell you just from the numbers that we've seen and from the experience, it's going to take a while before you get back online. So if you need to run to the grocery store, make a long list of perishable items, pick up some water along the way, but items that are going to last you at least that you don't have to put into the refrigerator or freezer because it's going to be a little while. We've talked a little bit about generator safety. Make sure that when you do fire up your generator, it is outside, not inside. A byproduct of internal combustion, carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide is very dangerous. So again, fire that thing up outside. Make sure once you do start dragging, if that's your setup, you start dragging some extension cords in the house, you do so in a very safe manner. And we also talked a little bit about chainsaw safety. Make sure if you know how to operate it, because it's completely different when you're lopping branches off of a tree as opposed to big limbs that are on the ground. Safety, safety, safety. That's why Kevin and I are here right now, Alex.
Good reminders, Pete. We've got Stephen Holt who's joining us on the phone. Stephen's out in the west suburbs, and he sent us some earlier video here from Naperville. So, Stephen, as we're showing this video here on the air, just tell us what you saw and what you heard when the storm came through. Looks like we might have lost Stephen on the phone line there, but this is some of the video that he shot, and I don't know if folks can hear it at home, some of the sirens that are going off in the background just as that storm was beginning to form there and the rain was starting to come down in Naperville. Just an indication of what so many areas across the Chicagoland region were going to deal with as we dealt with that for about 2 hours there. But fortunately, a good sign that the sirens were going off, because we know that different areas might turn on the sirens for different reasons. Doesn't necessarily mean that a storm is or a tornado is always on the ground.
Yeah, the sirens are usually run by the local EMS, Emergency Manager Service office, for each individual county. So they're the ones who determine, and usually it is when there is a tornado warning, but they're the ones who determine when those sirens go on and when they go off. And it is in coordination with the National Weather Service that they oftentimes, I can tell you the National Weather Service chat that we look at as far as getting updates and bulletins and information. All of the emergency managers from all the different counties from the Romeoville office, they're all looking at that chat, getting guidance from the National Weather Service as far as when they would set those sirens off. So again, you heard the sirens earlier this morning in many places, especially in the southern communities and into northwest Indiana, but that was because of the very powerful winds that we had and all of the tornado warnings that we had as well. All right, we're getting some very dramatic video in here. This picture. This is the result of a lightning strike. House on fire there. Picture sent in by Ike in Frankfurt there. And you could see there is, this is video, you could see the flames that are coming from this as a result of, this was from a lightning strike. So, you know, right now we're out of the woods as far as the severe weather threat goes with strong winds and tornadoes, but there is still some lightning out there. And this is the danger that it poses. So we're looking at, again, a pretty potent storm right there, or fire rather, that was created just by lightning alone. So as we go through the course of the next hour or so, waiting for that rain to pass, I know a lot of the curiosity is to get outside and see how much damage you had, and I can certainly understand that, but we would want you to do that in a safe manner. Unfortunately, I think you can see some high tension wires that are nearby there. it looks like a nasty situation there. Our Charlie Wojciechowski is on the way there. We'll have more coming up on what's going on here on the NBC5 News at 4 o'clock. But again, this is just a video, damage indicating how potent even just lightning can be, let alone all the strong winds and the heavy rain that we saw earlier today.
Yeah, Pete, thank you. We got Stephen Holt back on the phone line here to tell us what he saw and heard as the storms moved through Naperville. Stephen?
Hey, yeah, no, it was quite a morning, and I'm getting a little mixed minds here, but so I'm going to turn my volume down. But yeah, what a morning! I mean, right around 10:30, we saw the skies get really dark, and I got to hand it to my kids. I have 3 sons. They heard the sirens and then heard the phones go off with the alarms, and immediately went down to the basement. They've gotten so used to this summer. So they're pros getting all of our chargers and blankets and everything and going down to the basement. And we hunkered down while the storm came through. And I kind of wandered up, and we got some video of the wind starting to pick up and the trees starting to blow around. A lot of rain, heavy rain as that storm started to move through. And you could hear the lightning, the thunder from the lightning striking in areas not too far away from where we live. It was pretty dramatic as that storm started to intensify. But what really stood out is just how much rain came down. And I know I have some video that I sent to you guys of flooding on our street. We're not too far away from downtown Naperville. And just as I was shooting some video on my phone, a car started coming down our street. And I don't know if you heard the video. He was like, no, don't do it. And,
we couldn't hear it, but we're seeing it now.
The gentleman... I think I can hear you now. Yeah, so he got... stranded there in the middle of the street, and as he got out of the car, he told me, the water was starting to come in from the floorboards and underneath, and it was a total mess. Unfortunately, on our street, that's something that happens pretty much every time we get a heavy rain. There's a car that gets stuck there, but unfortunately, that's just the way it goes in so many communities going on right now.
Yeah, we're taking a look at all the standing water that is there on the sidewalks in the street, and that car that is stuck there. That's unfortunate. And we do see it pretty much every time that we have flooding or severe weather. Ultimately, cars that are stranded because either people had no choice, it might have come through, or cars that are just left out in the street, or unfortunately some bad decisions that people make when there ultimately is heavy, heavy rain. Stephen, thank you. Glad everybody's safe by you, and your kids knew exactly what to do, heading down to the basement. That's a good lesson, Pete, for a lot of families. Unfortunately, because as you and Kevin both mentioned, we've been trained so well, unfortunately, this summer, especially with all the severe weather.
I was watching you, Alex, and you had the same reaction that I did. It's no surprise that the kids knew exactly what to do because they're so used to having to do what they've done. Here's the latest numbers from ComEd and NIPSCO, and as you can see, both ComEd in Illinois and NIPSCO in Northwest Indiana, more than 280,000 customers without power right now.
Pretty unusual that they're like the same. Not really the same exact number, but even close to being the same. Considering that there's way more people in Illinois than there is in Indiana as far as the outages go. But just an incredible amount of the outages here. Again, here's our map that we have that updates constantly with the new numbers here. And you can see, I'm trying to think the last time that I saw when the numbers were in the shades here were in this maroon color with 180,000 customers without power in Lake County in Northwest Indiana. That's where the bulk of them are, as well as 130,000 customers without power that are in Cook County. But as you can see, a vast majority of them in the southern suburbs here and then into Northwest Indiana. So it has been remarkable as far as the number of outages because of the winds. But Kevin, you spoke to this earlier too. This is a location that has been hit time and time again. Again, it was 2 weeks ago yesterday that we had all of the tornadoes, including the one in Homewood that basically did a loop over the same neighborhood. Yeah, that was, I mean, I can't believe that same street basically looked like it got hit twice. And that was near Hazelcrest, I think what we had. That was just 2 weeks ago.
Hazelcrest, yes. That was, yeah.
Well, Homewood, and it covered that whole area,
But yeah, everybody there got it as well. So here again this is from Frankfurt here. This is a fire of a residence there that occurred as the result of a lightning strike. And this is why we tell you there's no safe place outdoors when there's lightning. This is how dangerous it can be. So we have this house that's on fire. Hopefully the Cruz Fire Department was able to get there quickly to extinguish it, because unfortunately with all of the damage that has occurred, with all the power lines down, with all the trees down, I'm sure that was just a little bit of a battle just to weave their way through the streets to get to this fire. But again, this is an indication of how potentially dangerous lightning can be. So until we have all of the rain cleared and we are clear of the convection, the lightning and thunder that's overhead, we've been telling you to take pictures. Do so, especially for insurance purposes, but you're also going to want to do that in a very safe manner.
Yeah, and actually, Pete, I can speak to that too. I'm going to show you where some of the lightning strikes are right now, because there are a few thunderstorms just south of Kankakee, but also we're watching a few pockets of some heavier rain. The heaviest is out over the lake right now, but around Waukegan, this is going to be dropping to the south and southeast. So riding right along the lakefront, there could be some areas of at least briefly moderate to heavy rain. Most of the lightning, if not all of the lightning right now that I'm seeing out of the rain that's ongoing in Lake County, Illinois, and Cook County, looks like it's out over the water, but there may still be a few lightning strikes as that slides farther to the south over the next couple of hours before it totally clears out. Now, farther south, you still have some more thunderstorms that have been redeveloping as the outflow, the winds kicked out from the storms earlier, is now riding farther south. That's where these storms are riding along. So these storms look like just south of the county line of Kankakee, and these are crossing over I-57 right now, and they will continue to move to the east and southeast. But a ton of rain still coming down over Rensselaer, over Newton and Jasper counties. But all the lightning, the really intense lightning, that's moving farther away. There still may be a few thunderstorms still at least clipping through southern, if not central, Newton County and southern Jasper County too. So Rensselaer, you may still have some areas of lightning and thunder still over the next hour or so, and that will keep tracking to the south and southeast. Also did receive an update too from, I saw the National Weather Service, actually, because these storms came in so early, they will have 2 damage survey teams going out this afternoon to assess some of the damage, at least to get started today. Likely in the days ahead, they're going to still have the work cut out for them. And not only just going out and having to travel, and think about the time it would take to travel to each of these locations to try to look at the damage, take pictures, but even after all the traveling is done, or the pictures are done, you're still looking and analyzing radar and satellite data. So all that takes time, and we'll have some numbers. They'll produce some numbers, and we'll relay them to you when we get them, but it may still be a couple of days, Alex.
Yeah, we know these things can take a while with such widespread damage. Thanks, Kevin. And here's a look at some of the damage in Cicero. This is from viewers. Several trees down there right now. Just a look at how strong that wind was when it did come through a little bit earlier. This is also some new video that just into our newsroom. This is from a viewer in Frankfurt. The home catching the camera, I should say, catching the storm as it made its way across the area. If we could show that to you, the powerful rain and wind as we're showing this video here. This is from Cicero, and we've actually seen some crews already go to this area to try to get some of the branches cleared out from the street and from the sidewalk as well. And here's a look at the video from Frankfurt here. As you see, if you haven't seen this before, this video, the wind is really going to pick up and the rain is going to pick up here momentarily. This is a bit of a longer video, but you're going to see a person here leave the house really quick with a phone, maybe try to get a photo, and then realize that's not something safe to do. Close that door, get back inside just in time as the wind and the rain really pick up from this front lawn. As we can see here in Frankfurt, some debris getting thrown around, the door blown open, and really strong wind. You could even hear in the video how strong that wind was and the rain was. So they were in Frankfurt just earlier this morning. Hope everybody is okay there, thinking about how dangerous it is to have that debris flying through the air. We want to bring in Glenn Fifield, Indiana State Police Sergeant, to talk about this semi that rolled over on I-65. Sergeant, thanks for joining us here. Can you give us an update on what's happening there on I-65?
Well, we got a couple things. We've got 2 rollover semis. We have one that was down near Lowell on the northbound side of I-65, another one here southbound at US 30, just north of US 30 that's causing problems. But our main problem on I-65 right now is we had some power lines go down north of I-94 that has both directions of I-65 shut down right now, and that's where I'm at right now. So, yeah, we've got a mess on our hands right now on I-65.
Okay.
But overall, here in northwest Indiana, we got hit hard again. I just looked at NIPSCO's website for power outages, and it's just short of 300,000 people are affected. Our main areas are Portage, Valparaiso, that area over in Porter County, Maryville, right along that storm path. But we got hit hard again, and still out assessing damage.
And can you tell us what sections of I-65 are closed or places that you're just telling people to avoid?
Yeah, right now it's north of I-94, so that's just north or just south of US 20 coming out of Gary, and then north of I-94 as you're heading northbound. So it's only a couple mile stretch here, but traffic is stopped. NIPSCO is here on site, and we're waiting for some tools to cut these lines and get them drug out of the road. But again, this is a perfect example of anytime you come across that lines are down, assume that they are live. Never assume that they don't have power going through them. Safety is always first, and we're a good distance away from them, and that's always the safest thing to do is avoid power lines. But that's our main problem area right now.
Okay, absolutely. And as for the rollover down by Lowell, has that been cleared up, or they're still working on that just south?
They're still working on that,
okay.
Just south of State Road 2 there. So
gotcha.
Yep, it's going to be a process. The weather's obviously not cooperating down there north. As you guys have said, it's just sprinkling rain right now. So yeah, it's recovery mode right now.
Okay, gotcha. And I know the driver there, it seems, did the right thing, pulling over to the side, but just the wind was too much for that semi. Glenn Fifield, thanks for joining us. Good luck with the cleanup and the rest of the recovery there. Thank you, Sergeant.
Thank you.
All right, let's go back over to Pete, who's got some incredible video to show us just in now. Pete?
Yeah, Rob Czarnecki from Chesterton sends in this video. We've got a fire going on. Not sure how the fire started. However, you can see there's a lot of flashing going on in here. So allow me to speculate a little bit. This is potentially what we could be looking at as far as down power lines, when especially the higher tension power lines, when there's a lot of electricity flowing. Sometimes that electricity kind of wants to jump. It's referred to as arcing, and that's why we're potentially seeing this. I don't know for sure. I cannot tell you with 100% certainty, but I've seen power lines arcing before. And it's a very dangerous sight to see. You want to take a step back from it. It's also pretty harmful on the eyes. Those really bright flashes there, if you're up close, it's almost as if you're watching a welder at work. So they're very bright. But again, I think this kind of speaks to the power outage situation and the power lines down. The fact that we might be looking at a few more instances like this, where down power lines and arcing are creating the fire situations that we might be seeing here and there. But this one, again, Rob sends this in from Chesterton, Indiana. Again, an indication of the strong storms that move their way through, as well as the dangers with the down power lines that we're seeing. Of course, there's hundreds of thousands of customers. Actually, the number's closing in on almost 600,000 customers without power in both Northwest Indiana and Illinois as the result of the storms moving through, a number that's likely going to creep its way on upward. So make sure you're going to have a lot of patience, folks, over the next several days here as road crews and construction crews and certainly the power crews try to get a handle on this. Here are the latest numbers. Once again, we're looking at more than 30,000 customers without power in LaPorte County, 60,000 in Porter County, 180,000 customers right now without power in Lake County and Northwest Indiana. Another 130,000 in Cook County, 96,000 in Will County, another 20,000 right now in DuPage County. So we have power outages all over the place, especially in the southern suburbs, this because of the very strong winds that move through. So you're going to need a lot of patience over the next several days as folks slowly but surely get back online. And I can't stress this enough. Be friendly to those guys who are working on the power crews, because they're going to be putting in some very long hours over the next several days trying to get folks back online. Kevin?
Yeah, we have. I mean, we're going to look at the storm reports again today, and we've had some hail reports today as well. And this is a photo. This is near South Bend. This was earlier this morning, because we had some storms overnight very early this morning. In fact, the first severe thunderstorm warning, I think it was about 3:30 this morning, as I was in looking at McHenry and Lake counties in Illinois. While that was happening, we also had some thunderstorms in Indiana, and we had reports around 6:30 in the morning, more around 9:30 and then 10:30 of some hailstones that most of, I think if not all of the hail reports we're really focused around northwest Indiana. So the green diamonds, those are all the hail reports. And again, we said this before, this will likely go up, and sometimes you see the wind reports or the wind damage reports become tornado reports once they do get confirmed. Because right now, no tornado reports, but definitely that is not to say we didn't have any tornadoes. These are all the wind damage reports, though, so far, and so most of the ones from Illinois that came from the storms, obviously, that rolled through around 10 o'clock through right about noon. And we still have all the hail reports and some wind damage reports across northwest Indiana. I want to show you how this all unfolded, because I talked about a couple of thunderstorms that came out ahead of this line of storms, and maybe this will be classified as a derecho, too, as the line developed and then surged forward into northwest Indiana. Meanwhile, the low-level jet, the steering winds, were pushing the rest of the storms farther southeast. But this was around 9 a.m., 10, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, and then as most of the storms are forced farther to the south, the outflow from these ones pushing out, eventually the wind ran out ahead of it enough where they started to lose some steam, and these continue to weaken and fall apart. But strong storms still across central Indiana right now. But this is what we faced today. And it started as early as 3 o'clock, 3:30 in the morning, when we had some strong storms come out of central Wisconsin. That pushed into McHenry and Lake counties in Illinois around 3:30 to 4:30 this morning before those faded. And then it was all about what we just had over the last couple of hours. So right now, at just 6 minutes before 1 o'clock, we've got still some thunderstorms. They're not severe, but just south of Kankakee County, and that is moving to the east and southeast. Not expected to become severe, but still may be some more lightning and thunder and some areas of heavy rain across far southern Newton and Jasper counties. But the severe threat continues across central and southern Indiana, while we're just looking at potentially still a couple more lightning strikes that'll be along the lakefront. And also the lakeshore flood warning into effect that Pete had mentioned earlier, that kind of bathtub effect where the storm and the winds are pushing all the water to one side and then they come sloshing back. So there could be some flooding there along the immediate lakeshore. That warning goes all the way until 5 p.m. This is from Crown Point, and this looks like, well, I can't really see what that looks like. Can you, Pete? It looks bad. Right, it looks bad. I was trying to look at the side monitor if I can get a better idea. I didn't know if the video cut out or just the visibility dropped that quickly, but looked like some heavy rain, some intense wind that we had there. And so I think we're going to continue to get a lot more video and reports in that we're going to have to show you coming up on our news at 4 o'clock and throughout this evening. Pete?
Yeah, you know, Kevin, you had a great explainer there showing the difference in the damage between tornado versus straight line winds. And basically, when the storm crews go out, the National Weather Service crews go out to look and assess the damage, they're going to be a lot like forensic crime scene technicians. They've got a huge crime scene that they have to cover, and then they have to figure out, well, what was the crime that was committed. Look at this, okay? We got this picture from Steve Schultz in northwest Indiana. This is a tree branch that has apparently come through the roof of the house, through the roof, or the ceiling rather, of the house before it finally came to rest inside the house itself. So this is an amazing video, but this speaks to the danger of being outside or even being near windows when there's flying debris around. Look at how this tree branch basically was like a missile flying through the air.
Wow.
And again, looks like that's drywall there with some insulation poking its way on through. So this is inside the house. And in order to get inside this room, it had to go through a roof to get there. Likely some sheathing, some plywood sheathing, and of course some roofing felt and some shingles overhead it too. So in order for this thing to get through, it had to really be motoring along. It had to really be flying, and then it obviously, perhaps with a very sharp pointed end, was able to get through not only the roof, but the ceiling as well. Steve, I hope everybody in your household is okay, certainly shaken up from this, but okay after this. But wow, this is just incredible evidence speaking to the power of the storm. We showed you this video earlier. This was in Chesterton, Indiana. And again, this is just speculation on my part. We have a fire going on here. But as we're seeing the flashes there, it looks like there could potentially be some higher tension wires that are arcing. They're sparking. They're basically creating that flashing effect that you see there. So that speaks to the dangers that we have going on right now with all the power outages and all the power lines down. Make sure you treat every single power line you come across as a live power line. We've had videos earlier of the power lines getting wrapped up in tree branches. And I know, Kevin spoke to the safety of being safe as you're cleaning up after the storm, but you want to do so in a very safe manner. And if there are power lines that are around, save it for later, because safety is key here. Alex?
All right, yeah, Pete, and we also got to look at the flooding and all the water that's going to be piling up, because the McCook Reservoir is now up to 97% capacity. We know the whole storm team has been keeping a close eye on all the reservoirs in our area this summer. So it's already reached capacity 7 times this year. Since McCook opened up in 2018, it's only been completely filled up 5 other times. So just an amazing summer that we have had in kind of the worst way. We want to thank you for joining us for our severe weather coverage and our very continuous coverage of what has gone on so far this morning. A special thanks to our storm team for keeping you safe. We're going to be out across the area getting a look at the south and southwest suburbs in northwest Indiana, which has been hit the hardest. Remember, you can always get updates on nbcchicago.com or our NBC Chicago app. For Pete Sack and Kevin Jeans, I'm Alex Maragos. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you for our newscast next at 4 o'clock.
I'm Craig Melvin, and this is Dateline Daytime on NBC.
My dad was my best friend.
He just liked to make people smile.
He would always boast about how he was an FBI agent. He was so proud. My brother and his friend came running down to the neighbor's house.
Just call 911.
Okay, I'm calling.
Well, police department, can you come down here, ma'am? What is going on?
His body had appeared to be concealed.
A robber is not going to take the time to cover your body. It's personal.
There may be some tenants that had bad blood.
He doesn't gamble all the time.
Someone that he put behind bars might have had it out for him.
Several doors were padlocked.
It seemed like it was forever, but it was maybe a 10-second silence in the courtroom.
He was an FBI agent.
Dealt with many criminals.
He could take care of himself.
At least he thought so.
Hello, and welcome to Dateline. When Special Agent Scott Horn retired from the FBI, it seemed he had left crime and violence behind him. Then, he was beaten to death outside his own home. It was a puzzling mystery, leaving police to wonder, had someone from his past resurfaced for revenge, or was the killer much closer to home? Here's Josh Mankiewicz with The House.
A young man walks toward his house in the middle of the evening. He's wearing a GoPro camera to do that. Now, if it sounds strange for someone to start recording a video of their own actions, well, stay tuned. This is actually one of the less weird things you'll hear about. What happened next was nothing short of terrifying.
Call 911. What's going on?
What he found that night would spark an investigation and a mystery that would only deepen over time. It's all linked to the drama that began just hours earlier when a daughter couldn't find her father. Scott Horn wasn't the kind of dad to disappear. You see, Scott had spent 23 years as an FBI special agent. Even in retirement, he still scheduled his life like clockwork.
If he did something, he normally did that same thing every single day at the same time. He never slept in either. He was up every morning at 7:30.
Scott's daughter Kelly was living on her own by age 18. Even so, she remembers her dad starting each morning with the same phone call.
Your dad called to wake you up every day.
Yeah, he would call and say, "Are you up?" And then 5 minutes later, he would call and say, "Are you up?"
Oh, so he's not just the alarm clock, he's also the snooze alarm.
Yeah.
Except on that morning, March 16th, 2017, Kelly's phone was silent.
So I texted him, and he didn't respond, and I called him, and the phone went straight to voicemail. I texted him, and I said, "I hope you're okay."
This is unlike him?
Totally.
He would respond to you.
Yeah.
Kelly reached out to her dad's next-door neighbors, Marty and Cindy.
Kelly called and asked me if I had seen Scott all day, and I said no, I hadn't.
And she said, call a wellness check. So I called the Laurel police. They came out.
His name's Scott, right? Yeah. Nice house.
Officers from the Laurel, Maryland Police Department met Kelly at the house to do what's called a welfare check. When police go to an address, essentially to make sure something bad hasn't happened.
We walked through the house.
No police. No police department.
They moved from room to room.
So my dad normally would take the dogs out to make sure they went potty outside, and there was pee all over the floor.
Which meant the dogs have been left inside for a long time.
Right.
Because now it isn't just the morning he's been missing, obviously. It's
Nobody has seen him. Right.
since like the day before.
Right.
We'll be down here.
They went into the basement. Another officer searched upstairs. Officer Matt Zimmerman was there.
Nothing appeared to be in disarray. Nothing appeared to have a struggle. She grabbed some belongings and stated that she was going to continue to try and locate her father.
Do you want to report him missing, or? I guess we'll wait till later. Okay.
Later eventually arrived, and Kelly still hadn't heard from her dad.
By this time, you have to be really scared.
I was.
Kelly had been talking with her older brother Riley. He hadn't seen their dad since the night before and was worried too. So that evening, Riley went over to the house with a friend. That's when Riley hit record on his GoPro and headed up the lawn of his family's large suburban home. As they walked, Riley and his friend heard banging and clattering on the left side of the house. And when they went to the area where the sounds had come from, they could make out a tarp in the darkness. They lifted it up. What they saw sent Riley running to a neighbor's house where his sister Kelly was waiting.
Just call 911.
Okay, I'm calling.
I need a police officer, EMS. What do you mean?
Kelly ran to the house.
I didn't understand what was happening.
They saw a body. They didn't know who it was?
I honestly don't remember. I was so, my adrenaline kicked in, and I ran up to the house, and I stopped right before the door, and I just fell to my knees, and I was crying and screaming.
So went out to the porch and saw her prostrate in the snow, just screaming. It was 10 minutes or so before I could understand what she was saying.
Which was what?
That her dad was dead.
For the second time, Officer Zimmerman was first on the scene.
My father is under a bunch. What is that? It's a GoPro on a...
So we start moving down the driveway. I tell him to show me where he found the body.
Ah! Right here. I can't look. He's covered.
Scott Horn was dead. Now the mechanics of a murder investigation began.
You got crime scene tape. Where's the body? We got a couple more units here. Gonna have a potential crime scene.
Who killed Scott Horn? As police search for clues outside the house, someone inside is apparently unaware of it all. Coming up.
Hello, Royal Police Department. Can you come down here, ma'am? What's going on? Well, we're just conducting an investigation right now, ma'am.
And whoever murdered Scott Horn didn't just kill him. This was overkill.
So someone shoots him from behind, and then after he's on the ground, begins beating him.
That's correct.
When Dateline continues.
Like a relentless weed, moderate to severe Crohn's disease symptoms can keep coming back. Break away to what's possible with Tremfya. Tremfya can help with remission at 12 weeks and help patients achieve lasting remission. Some had visible healing of their intestinal lining. Serious allergic reactions, increased risk of infections, or lower ability to fight them